I'm Blake Farmer, and this is Nashville. People come here from all over the world to make country music. And our guest today is one of the many, but she's also one of the few to ever crack the Billboard country charts, the fewer still to do that as a black woman. Rissi Palmer started her career kind of staying a little quiet about race, but over time, she and other artists along the way have decided to lean into it a bit more. Here's a single from her new EP.
I wanna be an old black Southern woman, the kind my mother never got to be. I wanna have for every Sunday to block out all the sun rays. A hug for everybody that I see. I wanna sit out on my porch and drink my coffee.
Well, that is Rissi Palmer there. Her song, her performing. Welcome to This is Nashville.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, you want to be an old black Southern woman.
I have no choice at this point. It's kind of what I have to be. It's funny that you said that. I was laughing because
Rissi was laughing when we started that music. Yeah.
I was laughing because the segue was perfection.
Oh, thank you.
And then it immediately, and I'm like, I want to be an old black. So yeah,
it's in the title of the song.
It's in the title.
You don't have a lot of that.
No, you don't. And I did it because, number one, like I said, I don't really have a choice but to become an old black Southern woman if the Lord allows me to get old. But also, I just, a lot of country music, whether people want to admit it or not, is identity. I try that in a small town and like all these kind of things.
The song, try that in a small town.
Yeah. And so, redneck woman and all these things. And so everybody is always proclaiming who they are and talking about who they are through these code words that we all know in the South what it means and like where it is. And so I just was like, that's who I am. Like, it's you know what I mean? Like, It's not like adding anything. Like, this is what I'm going to be.
Yeah. Well, do you have a collection of hats that you wear on Sundays?
Not yet.
Well,
I don't really have hat
so you can
hair.
grow into it.
Yes, it's coming.
Well, you grew up in Pennsylvania and St. Louis. But when did your music bring you to Nashville?
I was 18 years old when I came to Nashville. I had just graduated high school. I graduated a year early. And so the summer before I went to college, I was going to college at DePaul University in Chicago and desperately hoping that something good musical would happen to me so I wouldn't have to go.
Oh, wow. So you're hoping maybe I don't have to go to college if I could get a break.
Yes, if I could get a break, I'm not going. And so, but I did that for my parents. And so anyway, my managers over that summer discovered that country music was something that I loved and that I wanted to do. And so that first semester of college for me was them trying to make connections in Nashville, and they successfully did. And so I met Deborah Allen that year, and she recorded my first demo ever here in Nashville.
By recorded, you mean you wrote, she performed, or you're saying she
No.
She
wrote the songs and I performed them. Yeah.
Okay.
And so she and her husband met me here in town, and recorded, I think it was like 4 songs of hers on me. And then we immediately started shopping. And from that, I got a publishing deal, my first publishing deal.
Which a publishing deal is for a songwriter.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so we wrote a song together, and then that's how that happened. And then got meetings and immediately was kind of off to the races. So, yeah.
Well, what were those early years like here? I mean, my understanding is you've kind of always lived elsewhere, but this has sort of become your musical home
My
or
second
something.
home. Yeah. I did live here. I lived here for 5 years at one point.
Yeah.
Downtown on Union Street.
All right.
But
before people were living on Union Street?
Yes. When it wasn't like, when there were no woo girls and it wasn't like the newlywed capital of the world,
Right.
I lived downtown. But No, I what brought
What did I ask? Oh, but yeah, what were those early years? I think I asked 3 questions,
Yes.
which is why you're wondering what did I ask. Yeah, what were the early years like? Because it sounds like you were taking kind of maybe what would be a traditional country artist path, right?
Yes.
To get the meetings, what did that look like at the time, and what was the response to you as a person?
Sure. Nashville, I mean, I don't know that the process has really changed all that much, to be perfectly honest with you. I mean, social media has definitely added another dimension to all this. And
Meaning what, you could get famous before anybody else?
Exactly.
Okay.
But at the time it was meetings, and it was like you had all your people that are now like considered legendary that were running these labels. Like you had the Joe Galantes and the Tony Browns and all that, and that were running these labels. And so it was literally like, this is funny. Deborah took my demos at the very beginning without pictures because she wanted people to listen to the music and not get caught up in the story.
Almost like a blind audition.
Yeah, exactly. And so, yes, like The Voice, yes. And so
Wow.
they listened to the music. She would take it in and get the initial reaction and see if they wanted to have a meeting with me. And then that's when I would come in. And so early on, I talked to all these people. We performed and did the whole thing. And a lot of the conversation was, how do we find songs for an artist like you? How do we make sure that this comes across as authentic or sincere and that sort of thing? And so that's what it was for the first years. And I'll be perfectly honest with you. I don't know that I was like at my apex in terms of like as a performer or as a singer or as a songwriter. So some of that I understand. Like a lot of the apprehension I definitely understand because it took me like 7 years to really season and to get to do this and like perform and know how to perform and know how to write songs and that sort of thing. So I get it. I get that part of it.
Well, what do you mean sort of take seriously? Like, would people take her seriously? Like, were they thinking that, oh, does this person really even like country music?
Yes, right. Does she really want to do it? Like, I think a lot of people. Is it
believable?
Exactly.
Interesting.
I think a lot of people, I had one person, I'm not going to say who it was, but I had an executive tell me in the meeting, the thing that I liked about you is that you were like this very all-American looking kid. And like you didn't come in like the outfits and stuff that some people come in on, or it didn't sound like R&B, or like it didn't sound like something else trying to be country. Like it sounded country. And so I appreciate that. But I think there was a lot of, I don't know, I guess I don't want to say suspicion, but like there was a lot of she's using this maybe to cross over to something else, which is an interesting thought.
Right. Like, is that a problem? People do it all the
Is that
time.
a thing that people do? Right.
I'm Blake Farmer. This is Nashville. Our guest is Rissi Palmer. You're quoted in your own materials as someone who says, it's time for country music to know where the F it came from.
Yeah. I did say that.
Do you have any trouble, and this is sort of from your position now, having experience that people, obviously look to you, and we're going to talk a little bit about your show coming up, but like you kind of have this, a bit of a platform now to, but do you have any trouble helping people see the Black roots of what has become a very white genre?
I think it's funny. This time last year, I did a series for Black History Month called Black Country Music 101.
Okay.
And every day I gave a new artist and a new bit of information to just add to the story, right? I wasn't taking anything away from any of the artists. I was just adding some context and, for lack of a better word, some color to some of these stories. And people it was funny to me, like the overwhelming response was extremely positive. But the discourse in the comment section was always really interesting to me because everybody's immediate reaction is, that's a lie. That's not true. That didn't happen. Who's that? I don't know who that is. and like that sort of thing. And I think it makes people uncomfortable because we have believed a really great marketing a ploy that started back in the 20s.
Oh, you really feel like it was a concerted effort?
Oh, 100%. Like the naming of country music even is an interesting thing. Now, I don't remember the name right off the top of my head, but if you look this up, this is true. In the 20s, once there was an organized effort to make genre, once the recording industry was forming and that sort of thing, they saw that we can do the same song on two different artists. And it can even sound pretty similar. But because this artist is black, these records are called race records.
Oh, yeah.
And because these artists are white and they're from Appalachia or whatever, they have an accent or whatever, we can call this hillbilly music.
That's right.
And we can market them to two separate people and never the twain shall meet. And
it was almost like intentional segregation of
100%.
the music because you actually could just sell more records.
Of the same song.
Wow.
And so you can double dip in the publishing and everything. And so, we bought it. It was probably one of the greatest marketing ploys, most detrimental and greatest marketing ploys that we still use to this day.
Well, and some of that came up in the coverage this last year and on this show of the 100 years of the Grand Ole Opry. I mean, it really was the beginning of the publishing of that music, the hillbilly music. And, of course, they had the artists that they featured from the race records as well. And it just strikes me now that you perform in the Opry. I mean, I think you're performing this week.
I am.
Of our recording. How does that feel to play at the Opry? I mean, is that a warm experience?
It absolutely is. It's it's Mother Church. That is, it's legendary. And to sit here and say that it's not would be a lie. And so many of the people that I admire and that I have been inspired by have stood in the same circle that I have. And so, you can't, I don't know that you ever get over being invited and being able to stand in that circle and sing. It's a blessing.
On your new EP titled Perspectives, you have this cover song from the Steel Drivers. So that's the band that Chris Stapleton was a part of for a long time. It's called Can You Run? And I went back and listened to it when the Steel Drivers were doing it, and Chris Stapleton was singing it. And it's one thing to listen to Chris Stapleton sing about being a runaway slave.
Yeah.
It's very different coming from you.
There's smoke down by the river. Hear the cannon and the drum. I've got one thing to ask you, honey. Can you run? You know I hate to ask so late, but the moment's finally come. And there won't be time to change your mind. Can you run? Can you run to the freedom line of a Lincoln soul?
I mean, really, when I first heard that song with Chris Stapleton, I didn't even think too much about what it was about. And when you're singing it, I'm thinking, oh my goodness, there were these moments all over the place in 1860, whatever it was for them, that you're thinking, can you run?
Can you run?
But how did you choose to cover that song?
So that was thanks to Alice Randall. Alice Randall is, for those that are listening that don't know, she's not only a New York Times bestselling author. She's not just a professor at Vanderbilt. She's a griot. She's the first black woman, one of the first black women to write a #1 country song. She wrote X's and O's with Matrika Burr. Yeah. And she is not only that, but she was Garth Brooks' first publisher and so many other things. And so she's a pioneer. And I'm very fortunate that I've had her as a mentor for a few years. And anyway, we were having dinner here in town and she was like, I have a song for you. And so I was like, okay. anything that Alice suggests, I'm down. And so she sent it to me and I listened to it. And I had the same thought that you did. I was just like, that's so interesting that Chris Stapleton not only sang, but was one of the co-writers on this song. And I was just like, I wonder what made them write from the perspective of an enslaved man. And I was immediately just drawn to the material because it sounds like a really upbeat, yeah. And then you listen to the words and you're like, oh. And I take some of that upbeatness to me, I think it translates for me into like anxiety. Like it's whatever is they're feeling on the inside, like this bubbling, like the hope of possibly being free, the anxiety of running and like what that may entail and what may happen and that sort of thing. And yeah, and that kind of set me on the journey for this EP.
Well, have you talked to them about why they did that song?
I haven't had a chance to talk to them about it.
I don't even know how it
hope that
works when you record a cover. If it's sort of like you ever even let them, how you let them know that. But anyway, it's beautiful coming from you, and really enjoyed listening to it. Let me ask, how has your understanding of like your own position in country music changed since recordings you did, let's say 20 years ago?
Oh my gosh. I think that's a really great question. Honestly, I think when I started this journey, I was very much Rissi focused. Like it was about me, and it was about me becoming Faith Hill or becoming Carrie Underwood or like any of these people. And now it's more so like, I would like to leave this better than I found it for the people that are coming behind me. Like it's more so a global approach, I think, that I'm trying to take and that I do take. I'm more concerned about how the industry is going to treat others and how they're going to be received and that sort of thing. And so like just trying to till the ground, I guess. Is what I'm trying to do. And like as far as my personal place, I mean, I just really focus on like writing the best songs, picking the best songs, singing the best way that I can, making sure that my show is fun and unforgettable and like that sort of thing. And I'm more so focused on that than I am chart position or any of those things, because like that's not ultimately what we remember. It's the people that do memorable things, like that do the iconic things, that say the things that no one else is saying, that sing the songs that no one else will sing. And that's what I'm more focused on.
Was there a defining moment anytime in there where you're like, you know what? I think my ambition is not the same as it was when I started out.
Oh, absolutely. It was the birth of my oldest child. I have 2 daughters, and my oldest is 14. And when Grace was born, it grew me up. But it changed my perspective on work. If I'm going to take the time to be away from my babies and, not be able to make their lunch and take them to school, then it's got to be worth it. So I don't do things that I don't find to be worth it, or I don't say or record just arbitrarily. Like everything has a purpose and a place and a reason.
Well, we need to take our first break. When we come back, a lot to get to, navigating Nashville as an independent artist, supporting other artists of color, and a friendship with Prince. Rissi Palmer will be back. Stay with us. This is Nashville. I'm Blake Farmer, and this is Nashville. Rissi Palmer has been releasing music independently for more than a decade after being signed to a label early in her career. And she's out with her first record in 7 years. Has anything changed since 2019? 2019 was before that pandemic thing,
yes.
Right? Okay.
Yes. I was one of the unfortunate fools that made an album in 2019 to tour in 2020. So, yeah. No, my life is very different than it was in 2019. I had a baby that year who's now 6, and
I have a 2019 baby. Okay.
Yes, they are different. COVID babies are different. They are different.
Yeah, although I think my 12-year-old might have been more affected by it. He was in kindergarten when he was. So I don't know, because you have 14, so also had that sort of, don't go to school anymore? What?
Yeah, we could do a whole separate show just on that.
Let's not do that.
Yeah, that's...
So you were going to, 2020, you were going to tour on an album you'd put out in 2019.
Yeah. I had put it out in October.
And here we are.
And I was supposed to do the things. I had a whole year booked.
I mean, I could imagine... especially in the independent world, it's like, oh gosh, if we're not doing that, what am I doing at all?
Yeah, no, and that kind of is how Color Me Country came to be.
It was your pandemic plan?
That was my pandemic plan, like honestly, and it just came to me. So the pandemic happened, lockdown happened, and all my shows were canceled for the year, for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
And I had no idea what to do with myself. And then this is the same time that Lil Nas X had put out Old Town Road and, the whole controversy with that. And then, too...
Why was that controversial?
Well, it was controversial because it got kicked off the country chart. Like, it made it to the top, and then Billboard made the decision that it wasn't country enough.
Wow.
And so it kicked it off and put it back on the hip-hop charts. And people were like, why is this any different from any country rap record that...
I'd forgotten that bit of history.
So at the same time as that, it was the 50th anniversary of Color Me Country, which was Linda Martell's landmark album. Linda Martell, for those that don't know, was the first Black woman to ever play the Grand Ole Opry. Up until Cowboy Carter, she was the highest charting at 22 for her song Color Him Father and Bad Case of the Blues. And so... in learning her story, I just felt like a kindred spirit with her story. Like, she came here and did the things and played the game and ended up in a dispute with her label and her manager and was blacklisted and shelved. And ultimately, she went home and went to South Carolina, raised her babies, still sang, but never did music on a grand scale again. And it reminded me so much of my story. And had it not happened, had I not lived in the internet time and at a time where it was easy for artists, not easy, but easier for independent artists to carry on after leaving a record label, that could have been my story. And so I decided that I wanted to tell a complete, honest story about this. About what it is to be a country artist, what it is to be an independent country artist, what it is to be a country artist of color in this business, and the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I wanted people to tell me, if you've had a great time, I want to hear about that. If you've had a terrible time, I want you to know that it's okay for you to tell me that. And there will be no retribution. There'll only be empathy and understanding. And so I started working on Color Me Country the end of March.
Wow. Because you had said that, early on you were doing the thing that all artists want to do, which is talk to anybody who might publicize right about them. And you found that you only talked to white journalists, which I'm sure wouldn't mind writing about some of those things, but it's a little different. We're doing it right now. It's a different ear that you're talking to.
100%. And I think I can only speak for me, but I sense that the sentiment will be the same across. You want it to be everything but something that you can't control, which is your race. And so, or your gender and that sort of thing. So,
you're saying you want the point, the sort of...
Whatever happens to you in your career, you want it to be because you are good at your job.
Something you did.
Yes, something that I did. Something that I can't control. I can't control the way I look. I can't control where I'm from and that kind of thing. But I can control what comes out of my mouth and how it comes out of my mouth and all of that. And so I think in the early part of my career, because of who I was talking to, I would get asked questions about race, didn't want to talk about that because I wanted to talk about music. And so I would just say, if everything was great, everything's fine. Everything's fine. I don't have any issues. And that wasn't always the case, but I didn't want that to become the focus of the conversation. So I kind of code switched, and I would pretend and like, and that sort of thing. And I think a lot of artists felt that. So I wanted people to come on my show and just know that, like, girl, I'm a peer. So what happened? What'd he say?
Yeah.
And like, yeah. And I wanted people to feel free.
I want to get back to the Color Me Country in just a minute, but I don't want to get too far from listening to a little music.
Sure.
So let's take another listen from this EP, Perspectives.
I don't need you to break the bank. Appreciate you when you feel the tank. Ain't rich, ain't gotta be. I just want you to be good to me. Quick to listen and slow to fight. Good loving on me every night. It's real easy, baby, can't you see? I just want you to be good to me. Done crying, done trying, hitting circles in the squares.
That's Good to Me from Rissi Palmer's new record. That sounds like a song that could be on country radio. Don't know if that's like the plan or something, but is country radio still pretty important in country music?
It's very important, which
Really?
is why it's very sad how closed off it is.
What's been your experience there? Well, you talked about initially not putting your photo on things.
Yeah.
What does closed off mean at the moment?
It is a major label game, for sure.
Oh, so
And-
more than anything else,
Yeah.
if you're not on a major label, good luck.
Yeah, good luck. And it is also it's a man's game for the most part. I think that, well, not I think, like the numbers back me up on that.
Yeah.
Like it's yeah. So it's not the most easy way to get out. And it's unfortunate because that's what most of the awards are based on. Like getting an award, like getting Best New Vocalist or something like that from the CMAs, it depends on your airplay and chart position and all that kind of stuff. So in this way, streaming, everybody, most artists, have their thoughts about streaming. But in this way, independent artists, it kind of, in some ways, it's a lot, I guess, more fair.
Yeah.
Because the artist can go straight to the consumer.
You could find a way to get a big TikTok account. People are listening to you
Right.
on Spotify and YouTube, and that actually does count toward your position, right?
100%. Now it does, yeah.
Yeah. Well, you have had some success on country radio. This song from 2007 was on the Billboard country charts.
It's the way I think, not how I talk. Oh no, it's a pride to feel that makes you walk the walk. And come Sunday morning, palms up in praise. Yeah, it's all about my mama naming highs raised. It's a state of mind, no matter where you're from. Living like your grandma does.
It strikes me this song is, talking about how you don't have to be from Arkansas to
Yeah.
be a country girl. Says the person from Pennsylvania.
Right.
But the thing that is not said certainly is race. But what were you trying to say with that song 20 years ago?
That I was trying to allude.
Less
to the
direct.
things, yes.
Black is not in that title.
No, and that was a very calculated decision because there was a line about race in the song, and I was asked to change it from the label because they were just like, it's obvious. You don't have to say it. So I took it out. But I mean,
That's the old you.
yeah, we don't beat around the bush anymore.
Wow. If you're just tuning in, this is Nashville. I'm Blake Farmer. Rissi Palmer is our guest. When you started in country music, you really did kind of keep your head down, not make race a big deal. You now compare it to the early Black Barbie. What do you mean by that analogy?
Okay, so this analogy was this. This just came to me when we were talking. So the very first Black Barbie, there's a great documentary, by the way, about this on Netflix, was basically just a Barbie mold, a regular Barbie mold, painted brown. And then they gave her like a little mini afro and stuff, and thus Christy was born. And I had a Christy, loved her. Later on in the new iteration of Barbie, Black Barbie, quote unquote, has her own name, has her own identity, has her own mold. And so she has different features and like different things. And I use that analogy because in the very beginning of my career, it was told to me, it was drilled into me, keep your head down. Don't talk about it. Everybody can see it. It's obvious. And so just do your thing. And so, and it was told to me by well-meaning people, so I get it. But what that does is that for me, I can't speak for anybody else, but what it did for me is it made me extra self-conscious about those things. And so now that I am, quote unquote, in my own mold, I talk about what I want to talk about. I wear my hair how I want to wear my hair. And we're going to have in the video what I want to have in the video. And like that sort of thing. And like, you're going to get it the way that I decide that I want to give it to you. And I see country artists do that all the time. Like I'm going to give you my brand of me within this genre. And this is what it is. And so I strongly encourage everybody. It doesn't matter what race you are or what your gender or whatever. Like, do it in your way.
We'll talk about being pushed toward pop music. Like you had offers to make music with the formidable pop production songwriting duo Terry Lewis and Jimmy Jam, which I had to look them up. But they've been around. But why were you so committed to country, even when there was like, well, maybe pop is a better route?
I just love this music. I just do. I just always have. I love the storytelling. Nothing lights me up. Like you look as an artist, as a creative, you look for things that light you up. And this music lights me up. And I couldn't imagine trying to do, and I can't dance. Like, so there's that as well.
Confession time. Can't dance. Gonna have to stay in country music. Well, it's a safe place. Well, all right. So
I can hide behind my guitar.
That a lot of people have done it, even people who don't play it. Right. So he's not. I guess he wasn't known as the king of pop, but he's up there in the pop world. Prince.
Yes.
How did your friendship with Prince begin?
I met Prince through an attorney that I was working with at the time. So my managers had the bright idea, after things didn't really pan out in Nashville the way that we wanted it to, for us to move to New York and see if we could maybe make it come from New York down to Nashville, which was a terrible idea. But but we moved to New York and I started working with this attorney. Shout out to Londell McMillan. And he's the gentleman that got Prince out of the Warner Brothers deal. And so he started working with me and meaning like shopping my music to different record labels and stuff and for different opportunities and that sort of thing. And so one of the first meetings that we ever had, he was just like, I think Prince would really dig what you're doing. I was like, okay, sure. Maybe Michael Jackson too, whatever. And so he asked me to play at a Christmas party, at the office Christmas party. And so I was like, okay, cool. So I go and like, but Londell was like is the man. And so like his clients were like Roberta Flack and like Patti LaBelle and like all these people. So I'm playing like, chestnuts roasting and like, oh, hi, Patti LaBelle. So I'm just sitting there and like watching all this. I'm like, wow. So we get to the end of the party and like these Secret Service looking dudes come in and they're all talking to each other on their headsets and everything. And I'm like, what is about to happen? And he goes into the boardroom and they're like, yeah, Rissi, come into the boardroom. And like Prince walks in and looking like Prince and, smelling like birthday cake and babies and like all this, like just all the good things. And I was just like, what? And so he's like, play something. And so I played a song. I like that. Play something else. And so I played another song and then he was like, may I? And he reaches for my guitar and then he plays it. What? And so it was the first time that we met. And he was just like, I'll talk to you soon. And then he just left. And so we were just like, okay. And
he's known for this sort of mysterious
Yes.
behavior, right? Okay.
yes. And so a month later, I'm at my job because I'm working a day job. I'm working in retail and I have my phone on the floor. I'm not supposed to. It was probably for a boy. But anyway, I'm looking at my phone and I see this unknown number. And typically I wouldn't answer it, but I just, it was slow. So I answered it. And it was this woman, and she's like, "Hi, my name is Ruth, and I'm Prince's assistant. Prince would like to talk to you." And I thought it was my friends messing with me. So I was like, "Yeah, put Prince on the phone." And it was Prince. And so for like 3 years, he would just randomly reach out to me and ask me what I was working on and have me send him like demos and things that I was writing and that sort of thing. And then he would give me advice, like not give me the lines, but he would give me advice. And I hung out with him a few times at Paisley Park. And, it just it was very surreal. And he just was like this really lovely, funny, but very intense human being. And he had great advice.
What was his advice for you?
His biggest piece of advice, and probably the reason why we never spoke after the third year, was he told me, don't sign a contract. He was like, you don't need to sign a recording contract. And
Easy for him to say.
yeah, right. I'm like, you're Prince. Like, what are you talking about? But he was right. He turned out right. And I think for me, it was one of those situations where I'd never had it before. So it's like telling a starving person, don't eat that sandwich. That sandwich is going to give you indigestion. And I'm like, but it's a sandwich. I'm hungry. And I signed the deal and, and I never saw him again. We didn't talk after that. And I hate that because I never got a chance to tell him what his belief in me meant to me at that time. Because like nothing was happening. Like nothing was happening for me musically at
You're
that
getting
time.
calls from Prince.
Yeah.
Nothing's happening, and he's saying, "What else do you got?"
Right.
What
I'm just, selling clothes in Soho and getting phone calls from Prince. But like, no, nobody was recording my music. Nobody was asking for meetings or anything like that. So like I was down pretty bad. But the fact that he cared really did everything for my spirit.
That's really beautiful. We need to take one more break, very quick. And when we come back, we'll talk a bit more about Color Me Country supporting other country artists of color. Rissi Palmer on This Is Nashville. Stay with us. I'm Blake Farmer, and this is Nashville. When Rissi Palmer started her career in country music, as we've talked about this hour, she did all the things artists do, like talk to reporters. And in country music, that means talking to white journalists typically. She didn't want every conversation to be about race or to be seen as having issues because of race. And so race, not a big part of her identity. Then in 2020, during the pandemic, she created Color Me Country, an Apple radio podcast, as well as a foundation to support emerging Black country artists. And that's what we're going to talk about now. What's the idea behind this show, especially as it supports other artists?
So Color Me Country Radio was, like I said, my little pandemic project. And it started out as just like honest conversations about this journey. And I noticed that artists of color tend not to be signed to publishing deals. They tend not to be signed to major label deals. That's just the way it is. And so a lot of times people are doing this on their own, and they're not getting on the radio and not getting on like the really great playlists and that sort of thing on streaming. So you're just kind of dropping your music out into the universe and hoping that someone hears it. And, I'm a person that loves a playlist. So I was just like, this is really important to put all this stuff together and to make sure that people can go one place and find it and, and can support people from there. So like I said, it was really just like, tell me your story and that sort of, and we'll play your music and some of your favorites and that sort of thing. And
because the streaming channel also has essentially those playlists
Yeah.
of the artists who are
Yeah,
featured on
like
the
Color
show.
Me Country has its own playlist on
Right.
Apple, and I made one for Spotify. Don't tell them. But anyway, there's also that. So anyway, yeah, I did not realize what a hole there was in as far as like the demand for this sort of thing, and so it snowballed. Like I reached out initially to just friends and people that I knew in the business, and we recorded these interviews and that sort of thing. And then all of a sudden I put an email address out there and like, send me your music if you have it. And like, I'm inundated. Like there was at one point like 100 emails in my email box
Wow.
of just music that people wanted me to consider.
And I suppose this also would have been, I mean, again, a lot has happened in the last 6 or 7 years. This was the big Black Lives Matter moment. I mean, I could see that being a little bit of a tailwind where people amongst the white community are like, maybe I should open my eyes and ears a little bit more and sort of seek something out. Oh, I would love to listen to more Black artists in my country music feed.
Well, and it's not just Black artists too. I wanted to make sure, that's why I say artists of color, because I wanted to make sure that we included Hispanic artists, that we included Asian artists, and so on and so forth. So this is like, it's wide open to anybody of color. Yeah. And I don't, and I mean, we also play white artists too.
Okay.
So there's, so I don't discriminate. This is an open table, but you just don't know how much it means to people to be able to turn on the radio and to hear your music. Like that's the dream. And so I'm really very fortunate and very grateful that I've been able to do that for people.
So you all also developed a few years ago this artist grant fund. Mm-hmm. How did that come about? So
my partner in this was Kelly McCartney, and Kelly was a huge reason why I have a show on Apple anyway. Kelly was a fellow host on Apple and runs a artist grant fund called the Rainy Day Fund, and it is for marginalized artists in Americana, just strictly in Americana.
I see.
And so Kelly reached out to me and asked me, would you be interested in maybe starting a sister fund? And so that's where Color Me Country Artist Grant Fund came from. And so since December of 2021, we have given over 85 grants. We've raised over $200,000. We have taken 20 artists over to Europe to play a festival, all expenses paid. We've done stages for Farm Aid. We've done stages for CMA Fest. And so that's been really fun because I never saw that in my future. And
So it's almost like making a way that instead of having artists have to try to scrape by and get a stage at CMA or fill in but you're saying we'll make this worth your while, and so you'll have a spot to be seen where people come to discover music.
100%. And it come under my umbrella. Like let me use any notoriety or that I have for you. Yeah. And let me help shine a light on you.
Well, speaking of noteworthy work and notoriety, you've got a lot of hats that you wear, even children's book. I mean, there's a children's book called.
Yes.
Well, how did that happen?
So that's Rhiannon Giddens. Rhiannon is another artist.
She wrote the book.
She did the illustrations, actually.
Oh, right.
So let me break it down for you. So Rhiannon has a deal to do children's books, and she's put out a couple of really great books based on songs. And she reached out it's been like 4 years now. She reached out about 4 years ago and asked if I would be interested in doing this project with her. And so I was like, yes, anything. So she did all the pictures. Kelly McCartney and I are the editors. There are several writers from here in Nashville and elsewhere, Black music journalists and writers that, including Andrea Williams, shout out, that contributed to this. And so they wrote the profiles of all the artists that we feature in the book. I helped Rhiannon to curate the list. We made a playlist for the back because I love a playlist. So we made a playlist. And then we also did a bullet point because some of the artists, unfortunately, there's not enough information for them to get their own page. But I still wanted them to be mentioned in the book. And then some people didn't give us permission to make a full page for them, so they're in the bullet points.
Yeah.
So we tried to cover all the bases with this book.
Yeah, and the name of the book is
Color Me Country, the Black women that helped shape country music.
Well, if you're just tuning in, this is Nashville. I'm Blake Farmer. We're wrapping up with Rissi Palmer here. Is there a day coming where a Black woman in country music isn't noteworthy?
I hope so. I look forward to it. I mean, I think that I think when things become truly equitable, and I mean that for everybody, when things become a truly equitable curation on social not social media, on streaming, because P.S. the algorithm works exactly the same way that terrestrial radio does.
Really?
Take that information and do with it what you will. But once this becomes a truly equitable, based solely on taste and music and that sort of thing, because music is subjective, and the opportunities are equitable, then no, I don't think it'll be a big deal.
Well, and I'm guessing maybe I've even heard some version of this. It's like, well, this is what audiences want.
Right.
But it strikes me that essentially the music business is about making audiences think they know what they want, right?
I was going to say, people don't realize how much they're told on a regular basis to like something,
Right.
Than like they are. Like, all of this is designed to make you think and feel a certain thing, like the way radio is curated and all of that. And when you step back and you actually see how the sausage is made, you know that. And so you know also that if you can program it this way, you can deprogram it. And you can do things a different way. And so I'm looking forward to when everybody decides that we're going to do things a different way.
Do you feel comfortable saying that? You know what I mean? Like by sort of calling it out. I mean, in a very nice, lovely, friendly, cooperative way. You still are basically calling out the industry.
Yeah, I think, I mean, the industry knows what the industry does. Like, everybody knows. And yeah, I feel completely comfortable doing it. And I feel completely comfortable because I have been in it. And so I know how it works. And I know how it's been oiled and set up to be successful for some and not so successful for others. And again, that's not just a race thing. That's not just a gender thing. Like, it just works that way for whatever we have decided that this is what it's going to be. This is what it's going to be.
Have you seen progress?
In some ways, yeah. I think, so I'll start with the positive. I see artists getting out there and putting themselves out there and doing really great jobs on social media and on streaming and that sort of thing, and killing it. I do. I see lots of artists doing that, and it makes me really excited and proud, and I'm inspired when I see it. I think that there were some steps forward, and then we took some steps back culturally. And, you know, at this point, I don't really have a whole lot of hope for things just completely being dismantled and start over again and that sort of thing. But I am hopeful that people will see the writing on the wall and continue to do their own thing.
Mm. You know, you've spent years, kind of the last 7 years since your pandemic plan was needed, building a platform for other artists to kind of spring from. And so, but you're also putting out new music right now.
Yes.
Like, how does it feel to be making a return to your own music now that you've kind of been transformed by some of those conversations of other musicians of color trying to make it?
I think I love the word return. Like, that's a great word, because this project, Perspective, is a return to a lot of things. I got to work with Shannon Sanders, who was one of the first producers I ever worked with in town, and it's just like, he's a force here in the industry. He's one of the bright lights in the industry, and so I'm really glad that we got to work on this together. I come at this with a lot of humility, and I come at it with a lot of renewed inspiration from doing the show. Like, I see what everybody else is doing, what the younger artists are doing. And I was like, okay, like an auntie for real. Like, okay, kids, I can do that too.
It made you bolder? It made you bolder?
Yes, it absolutely made me bolder. It made me bolder. It made me, I'm less afraid. I don't need to, and I don't need the validation. I think that's the other thing too. Like, I would have, younger Rissi, 26-year-old Rissi, the girl that put out that song, Country Girl and everything, would have been really scared to not have, I'm not going to be on country radio, or it's not going to be, it's not going to debut at #1 or anything like that. It's not going to get on the charts. But 44-year-old Rissi is just like, I made a project that I'm really proud of, and I cannot wait to get out and play it for people. And I hope that it finds my people.
Rissi Palmer, thank you so much for making time for This Is Nashville.
Thank you for having me. This has been lovely. I appreciate it.
And we made it the whole time somehow without talking about Arsenio Hall. But, that'll be for part 2.
We'll do that next time.
Well, thank you for tuning in this hour. This is Nashville is a production of Nashville Public Radio. We air these profile interviews most Mondays. If you missed figure skating legend Scott Hamilton or Chef Erica Fizer this month, you'll find their episodes in the This is Nashville podcast feed or WPLN.org. Today's episode produced by Liv Lombardi, who's also running the board and the cameras. Tasha A.F. Limley is our managing editor. The masterminds behind our theme music are Larange and Namir Blade. If you've got thoughts about this interview, past shows, or a show we should do, tell us by picking up the old-fashioned phone, 615-751-2500. You can also connect with us on Instagram at thisisnashville_WPLN. I'm Blake Farmer. Go in peace.